I just need a cigarette. You want dirt?
Why do so many killers say they can't remember the exact moment of their crime? Do they really truly break into fits of rage and black out? Or are they telling a lie because they don't want to explain exactly what they did to end the lives of their victims? Does evil overtake them? Do they ever experience a psychotic break that should be treated in a mental hospital instead of prison? These are the main questions at the heart of the case of Sidney Powell. You know, we've been covering this case for years now. I can't believe it's almost been 5 years. And now I've obtained Sidney Powell's first murder court case files, which have been released. We've seen some of these before, some we haven't. Some of these photos I've just seen, yikes, they just have me feeling weird, horrific. Some of them I just went through, like more than 700. I can't put all of them on YouTube. I kind of went through and saw what might be appropriate for YouTube. The rest I put over on Patreon. Sidney is smiling in her latest booking photo. If things go her way, she could potentially walk free. Sidney's family, meanwhile, is ecstatic and hopeful. Sidney was only 19 years old on March 3rd of 2020, nearly 5 years ago. She had failed out of college, but she didn't tell her parents, Steve and Brenda Powell. They were none the wiser, but as they inched closer to the truth, danger and tragedy approached. One day at their quaint little family home in Akron, Ohio on Scudder Drive, Sidney took a cast iron skillet and a serrated knife to her 50-year-old mother, Brenda Powell, brutally ending her life. It was a frigidly cold day that day when officers responded to the horrific scene. And therein began the mystery of why Sidney, this teenager who claimed her mother was her best friend, why she would react in such a violent way when her beautiful mother was about to learn the truth of Sidney failing out of school. Plenty of freshmen find they don't do well going off to college. Being on academic suspension or probation or what have you is a pretty common thing. It's a big change to go off to college. This one solvable situation made no sense to be the impetus for murder. Well, now, as you can see from the court papers I downloaded, it says Sidney Powell appeals her convictions in the Summit County Court of Common Pleas. This court reverses. This court reverses means that an appeals court has decided that the judgment of a lower court was incorrect and has instructed the lower court to vacate the original judgment and retry the case. This is called a reversal. And when a verdict is overturned during the appeals process like Sidney's was, it usually means they'll get a new trial. But what will a second jury say about this mystery of a monstrosity? I just went through all these photos again, and I'm putting up ones I think are appropriate for YouTube. And the ones I'm not showing over here really depict the brutality, the rage, the anger of Sidney's crime. Right beneath photos of a beaming, seemingly happy, smiling family, including Sidney and her mother in the center of one of the photos in a bedroom, right beneath that are the crimson stains of so much blood spatter. Indeed, like Sidney told one cop when she opened the door for him, "There's so much blood," she screamed. So I've obtained more than 775 photos and dozens of police body cam videos. We've gone over this in the past. Some of the videos are all over on Patreon, all over the place, but as you know, many of them are redacted or they're just different officers' perspectives. But what Sidney did to her mother is brutal. And some photos contain such irony. There's a framed photo of Sidney smiling in the past, overlooking her current crime. You see the shattered glass in the back room, the way she tried to blame her crime initially on some mystery intruder, and that story fell apart pretty quickly. We see shattered glass, a serrated knife, a cast iron skillet, a blood-smeared cell phone nearby. When Brenda was on the phone about to learn the truth of her daughter failing out of college. Yes, maybe Brenda might have been angry for 2 minutes, but her parents seemed very supportive. I'm sure they would have welcomed Sydney home and given her a chance to just restart her college life or find a job and do something different. But no, Sydney basically bludgeoned her mother with that cast iron skillet I'm sure she cooked plenty of meals in, and that serrated knife was used on her, all about her décolletage and neck area. In these photos you see a smiling Sydney, a cute little girl on this little dresser, atop a dresser, right above the brutality she left beneath it. Now that the appellate court has overturned her conviction, it opens the way for Sydney to have another murder trial. Now, this was pretty viral when we covered this murder trial. It definitely gained attention across the world. It started, I remember, with me looking up Sydney's requests, how she wanted a therapy dog at her feet, how she didn't want to be in the courtroom during certain times, and she was allowed to leave during certain times, and who could forget the time Sydney covered her ears during certain things. I guess what struck me the most about this case is it still doesn't make sense, and the way her father, even Brenda's mother, Sydney's grandmother, just stood behind Sydney. So many people have stood behind Sydney, believing it was just a psychotic snap, a psychotic break. So I have to take into account the way the victim's family feels. I mean, this is Brenda's husband, this is Brenda's own mother. They're standing behind their daughter. One judge wrote the decision, other judges sided with that judge. Justice demands a new trial. We knew attorney Don Malarkey was defending Sydney in her first trial. He thought she was not guilty by reason of insanity. The whole problem is there was one rebuttal of expert testimony that was not allowed, and that's why the whole conviction basically fell apart. 9th District Appeals Court Judge Jennifer Hensay wrote the decision, and she wrote the trial court denied Ms. Powell's motion based solely on the conclusion that there had been lots and lots and lots of expert testimony in this matter. Sydney's condition, basically, whether she was malingering and lying, or was she telling the truth? Did she not remember? Did she really snap? Under these circumstances, however, Ms. Powell had an unconditional right to present rebuttal testimony. So true. I don't know why this one prosecuting expert witness, even though she was great, I don't know why hers was allowed to be the last word, basically, the jury heard. The judge is saying, look, it was up to Sydney's attorneys to prove that she was suffering this severe mental illness during the murder of her mom. She had a right to rebut this testimony presented by this expert. It was a 3-week trial. It was pretty sensational. Juries could have found Sydney guilty, not guilty by reason of insanity, or not guilty. They chose to find her guilty on 2 counts of murder, along with felonious assault and tampering with evidence. So, Summit County Common Pleas Judge Kelly McLaughlin had sentenced Sydney to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. A lot of people thought Sydney got off easy because of this gruesome crime against her own mother. Well, will she get off even easier? Because attorney Don Malarkey is now saying Sydney's family is ecstatic and hopeful. Of course, they want a new trial. Don Malarkey wrote, people like Sydney who suffer from a serious mental disease do not belong in prison. I look forward to working with our newly elected prosecutor to ensure Brenda's death is no longer used for political purposes. Another attorney for the Powell family echoed the same sentiments as Don. However, Interim Director of Community Rick Raley said the prosecutor's office is aware of the 9th District's decision, which only addresses the trial court's procedure and not the defendant's guilt. We are currently considering options on how to proceed. So basically, during Sydney's trial, which lasted 3 weeks, there were experts, 3 experts testifying in Sydney's defense, saying she suffered a psychotic break. Some of them evaluated Sydney and diagnosed her with schizophrenia. They were claiming she didn't know the wrongfulness of what she did when she just went crazy on her mother and stabbed her more than 30 times. However, a psychologist who was hired by the prosecutors, Sylvia Obradovich, she disagreed. She was great. She was really great. She testified in her belief, in her expert opinion, claimed Sydney did not meet the legal definition of insanity. She did say, okay, Sydney could have mental health issues, maybe like borderline personality traits, malingering, unspecified anxiety disorder, but she wasn't saying Sydney was schizophrenic. So, Sydney got a new attorney on appeal. I remember making a video how Sydney was running out of money, she couldn't use Don Malarkey anymore. Dan Eisenbray represented Sydney on appeal, and he argued that Sydney should have been permitted to have a witness respond to Sylvia Obradovich. The judge prohibited the testimony. The prosecutor, Rick Raley, was arguing jurors had all the evidence they needed. Well, did they? I don't know. One thing I am grateful Sydney has gotten an appeal. We want things done correctly in court. No matter how brutal and horrific this crime is, I never truly understood why the defense was able to call their 3 witnesses and give all these different interesting testimonies. The prosecutor called their one witness, Sylvia, and then when the request was made for someone to rebut all these definitive things Sylvia was saying, the answer was like no. And I hate that when you leave kind of like loose ends, it does pave the way for a conviction to be overturned. So I'll keep checking the docket to see when Sydney's new trial date pops up and what'll happen. In the meantime, all this extra evidence, these photos, they're out here for us to see. We don't even see the worst of them, of course, on YouTube, but it could remind a jury, Sydney's next jury, not to let the brutality of the crime get lost on them in all this word speak, but to really understand truly what was going on in Sydney's brain. Did she truly flip out? Did she have a psychotic break? Does she belong in a mental treatment center like Andrea Yates, for example, the mom who drowned all of her 5 children in Houston? Let's do this. Before we close, we can go on to watch interviews with Sydney's dad when he found out Brenda didn't make it, and unfortunately her brother comes in there and we have to listen to her dad telling her brother Mom didn't make it.
That's really bad news. Your wife passed away.
What happened? Mom, Dad, no.
And they break down. It's very sad. And later we'll look at this interview too in the video, if you haven't seen it, of Sydney's roommate giving her opinion of what she saw, what may have gone wrong, and what she didn't know. Let's close for now with 1 Peter 4:14. If you are insulted and reviled for bearing the name of Christ, you are blessed, happy, with life, joy, and comfort in God's salvation regardless of your circumstances, because the Spirit of glory and of God is resting on you and indwelling you. He whom they curse, you glorify. Thanks for watching. Watch all this coming up, as much as I can put in this video, as much as YouTube will accept, and we'll move forward, and we will definitely keep our eyes on this case and see if Sydney wins her new trial indeed and what that jury will decide. Take care.
Yeah, if you have a bottle, I just had a sip, which is probably all I really needed, but.
Sorry about the choice of bottle. Is that pop or water? It's a water. I told him I'm sorry about the choice of bottles. That's what came out. Oh, that's
Oh, no.
correct.
That's good. Take it. Okay.
Did you eat?
No. So I try not to eat lunch. Make a big breakfast and dinner.
Yes.
No. I feel like I should be doing something. Seems like a waste of assets. Yeah.
Yeah, you should always. Yeah, I'll be the same way. I want to get down there too.
Well, that's it. I know I'm not gonna do anything, but I mean, it's just. I don't know if if I need someone to get a hold of Andrew.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Time they get done with school, 2:30.
3.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you have anybody that could get him if you needed to?
Nope. I mean, he can go home with, Dave said you go there, but that's just out of the, I opened that already.
Yeah, as you said,
Oh.
take that.
I am. But I mean, he was supposed to stay. The key is to make sure he stays there until I can figure out what the hell I'm going to do. I don't know. I mean, we have to do something tonight because he's not going to. We're not going back home. I don't even know when am I going to be able to get back home.
Back home?
Yeah, like getting to the house. I mean,
Today?
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they'll do what they got to do.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to go back home.
That's what I mean.
Well, I want to is the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, but I can get in there and
once they're doing, they got, like I said, they have things they have to do out there.
Mm-hmm.
Put the pieces of the puzzle together, figure out what's going on, etc. And then once they're done doing what they do, and it takes a long time, whether it's for you or whether it's for me or whether it's for anybody else, it takes a long time. And then once they're done doing everything, then they'll open it up. So at that point, right now it's limited to who they allow to come and go. And then once they clear that up, which it's going to be sometime today.
That's me. There's somebody down the hospital then with Brenda. They'll interview Brenda. They'll interview
I think
Sydney because they were talking to Sydney. Was just laying there, just it was clear shock.
You saw all those cars.
Yeah.
Cars that are out there. So the protocol is, and I can't tell you this happened because I wasn't there, but I'm sure what happened is when they left with Brenda and Sydney, somebody went with them or followed them to the hospital.
Yeah, they had a separate transport.
That's usually what happens.
Okay.
That's the protocol what happens. Because people remove themselves from the scene.
Just like I said,
She was we either ride with or follow them down to the hospital. So, to answer your question, somebody will be down with them. And then you said Brenda's mom and dad are going?
Brenda's mom and stepdad are going. Here's Brenda's mom. Hello?
Going to the hospital.
I'm at the police station. I don't. Nope. Yeah. Why is that? They said they're not at Akron City. Brenda's mom said they haven't processed her yet. Where would she be?
I think they went to city.
Yeah, I heard City. They were going to Akron General. Dave came back and said they were going to City.
Maybe the information isn't input yet or something. I don't know, but
It's been a long time. My mom should be there too, and so should my brother. Yeah, I just talked. Yeah, all right. I don't know yet. He was supposed to stay for lacrosse practice. Supposed to stay from 3 to 5:30. Yeah, but he will be okay. And then we'll go from there. All right. Bye. Yeah, they haven't gotten there yet. That doesn't seem right.
they got there.
They haven't processed. Sorry. Does that make sense? In a trauma, I'm assuming what it would be.
Well, they would take them in and start working on it. Paperwork and enter and then the computer comes later.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, the well-being part is getting treated. So you said it's her mom and dad or her mom?
Her mom and stepdad.
Her stepdad, yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, Bob.
And then your mom's going?
Then my mom's going, and then my brother.
And Dave's going?
Yeah, Dave. And that's it. I probably should call somebody else, but I wouldn't know.
Where's Greg at nowadays?
Brunswick. I believe he's just teaching up there in Brunswick. I don't know if it's
Teaching?
Yeah.
You guys are teaching. Yeah. Greg. Was he elementary or high school?
It's middle school, I believe. Good question.
I don't know about. I can't speak as a teacher.
I'm not quite sure either.
I can't see him as a teacher. Just from what I remember, but probably can send me as a copy or so.
Well, that's
Dave's still in Akron?
yeah.
He's not working anymore, is he?
Yeah, he's still there.
Is he? I think we went to his house once upon a time.
Yeah, you had a suicide call there. His brother or somebody. What was a baby?
Yeah.
I said, over on, he lives on,
His brother.
what the fuck's the name of his Riverside and, you know how you go around Riverside, Pitkin, Riverside up the hill, Collinwood. Almost on the corner of Collinwood. There's a house on the corner of Collinwood, and his house is a house that sits, the garage is in the back. I think you guys were partners.
That was years.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I don't remember the details.
The call came out of suicide. And you got took a bear. I remember, those are the details I remember.
Oh, my.
What do you want to see? Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Sit here. This is the consent to search here. How do you spell your first name?
Steven.
Come right over. Just gives us.
Three.
Who'd you get a call from? Or what happened?
Got a call from
He
him.
called from me.
Oh, okay.
He said there was a call, went out, a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. And I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I said, well, let me call. So I called Brenda, and it rings on the cell phone, no answer. I call Sydney back, rings, no answer. I call Brenda back, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call Jeep back, and as I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer, my doctor calls me back and said, "Oh, Mom's on the phone with Mount Union." I said, "Well, cops are on the way," and she went, "There's been a break-in," and she just started going off. She said, "What?" She said, "There's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere." And I'm like, "Stop!" And then that's when I called. I'm sure there was conversations after that, but I'm not going to remember the detail. She was hysterical and crying. I called Jeep back and said, I don't know what I told you. I don't know if I said it was legit or it's the cops on the way. There's been a break-in, and I left. Drove home and saw about.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said that your wife was on the phone with Mount Union.
Yes.
And
as soon as I said cops are on the way, the hysterics started.
Is she still attending Mount Union?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last, maybe couple weeks. Because I tried to get on, this was a couple weeks ago, I tried to get on the website to I like to check the balance, and she's been coming home on and off on the weekends a little, just little frequently. Never seemed odd for sorts, it's acted perfectly normal. But she came back, and I'm like questioning, well, why aren't you at school? Why are you coming home? And, it's all the same, just, the vague non-answers. And so she turned off her Life 360 app. But I think on that app, you can't see where she's going. You can kind of see highlights of where the phone was. Well, I'm kind of looking, I'm like, well, you're not where you're supposed to be. This is kind of weird. So I called her on it, and I said, Mount, because I went on, so then I tried to go on the Mount Union website, and I say, I figured, I was going to see if there's anything on that. Parents only have so much,
Right.
I'm willing to pay the bill and everything, but if you want to find anything about it, you're out of luck.
Right.
So, but I figured I'm going to try. So I sign on, it says your password or your login or password ID doesn't work. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I recovered my password, and I put in the right answer, and it didn't work. And I did that a few times, and I texted her back and said, something's not working. What's wrong? She comes up with something that says the website's down, basically, and but I'm working on it. So a few days pass later. Nothing seems out of the ordinary until maybe it was today, I tried to get back. Well, Mount Union calls me today because I sent them an email that says, my user ID is this, my ID is this, my password's not working, my recovery answer won't work, and I know where I was born, I know my car, and it doesn't, when you type in your recovery email, the system just, it didn't recognize it. So I sent Mount Union Billing an email and says, basically, what's wrong? So she called me back today and says, well, the reason you can't get on, long story short, is your daughter's unenrolled. So I went, what's going on? So I text Sydney, I'm like, oh, give me a call. I have a question to ask you. I call her, no answer. I say, give me a call, I have a question to ask you. And I look on that little Life 360 app, and her car was at home. I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. So I leave my phone at home so she can't track me. And I go home, and there she is. She's at home. Perfectly normal. She's crying because I said, what's going on? Are you not going to school? She goes, I'm overwhelmed in school, and I don't really like what I'm doing, and it seems like it's a waste of my time and your money. I said, well, but that's all part of it. Nobody's going to tell you you need to do what you're doing when you're 20. You need to figure it out. But you have to work through the problem. You can't just ignore the problem and have it go away.
I'm sorry, when did you have that conversation?
Today, like 11:30. I don't remember. Yeah, it was. I left work because it was before lunch. It was maybe around 11 because I was probably there from 11 to 11:30. So from her phone call. So that's what I said. My recommendation is call the school back, call the student union, get reinstated. And then if you have to take the summer off, take the summer off. Figure out what you want. You're supposed to take a summer class because she changed a couple majors. And that's what she goes, all my friends have their shit together and I don't. I said, well, I'm 54 and I don't have my shit together. Don't look at it that way. You need to work the problem. You can't just have the problem sit there and ignoring it is not going to do you any good. So I went back, I called my wife from my daughter's phone. She picks up, she was working down at Children's. And she goes, what's wrong? And I basically told her, I said, Sydney, I think the reason we can't get on is because she's unenrolled. She hasn't been going to school. She goes, well, and then we talked to Jill, her boss, and says, I'll see if I can come home. So I left. On the way home, I either on my way back to work or when I'm at work, I call Brenda, and she's like, well, I'm just pulling in now. So I let it go, and then I get a text from Brenda that says, she says something to the effect of she was on the phone waiting for someone from Student Affairs to call me back. And that was at 12:36. She said, how much was the check that they're returning? Because Mount Union told me, too, before, with the phone conversation, we're returning your check. I'm like, nobody would return a check. So I texted her back at 12:36, and I said I had no idea. It was electronic. I said, check on the scholarship, too. Make sure she didn't lose that at 12:37. At 12:39, I got on the bank account. I said, maybe. I go, $5,435. And then at 12:41, what did you discuss with her? And that was it.
So 12:41 was the last.
12:41 was the last, and I don't know how to tell what time I got his call. Recent. It's been 12:54. 12:54 seems like it because then I called Maybe it was a little before that. Maybe it was 12:51. That sounds maybe right.
What is your phone?
330. So at 12:49 I called and I think it went to run. I don't know if it connected or not. I don't know how to do that. 12:51 I called from Jeep. Then at 12:52 I called Brenda. 12:53 I called Sydney. 12:53 I called Brenda. 12:54 I called Jeep and said there's no answer. Here, you can look at it. So I don't know. So I called Jeep and said there's no answer. Then while I'm on the phone with Jeep, Sydney calls back, and that was that conversation.
Hi.
Hi.
Christy?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Crystal,
Hi.
Victim Assistant. How are you?
Okay.
This is Miranda.
Hi. So then that was it. Then after that, then I left once I talked to Sydney, and I hightailed it home.
How are you doing? Can I do anything for you right now?
No, not right now. I need, go where I need to be.
Yes.
That's fine. That's fine. That's
Now, how long has she been acting funny?
just been a couple weeks. I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't remember when she came home that first time, kind of out of the blue, but that was.
She said she was stressed out.
She told me that today. That she was overwhelmed.
Is she on any medication?
Nope. No.
Has she ever tried marijuana?
I don't know. I didn't think she drank until the first time she drank it. And I think she
How long
realized
was that?
it was last year. It was her freshman year. And I'm sure she does. I'm not going to be,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say she doesn't, but I don't think it was ever a problem. But not an expert in that field.
Has she ever had any psychological problems in the past?
No. Always been, shy and, reserved. And that was always the problem is, she never says anything. So Brenda said she didn't realize she was having her period until tampons were missing. Excuse my language. So that's just the kind of person that she was. It was all, internalized, and that's why I told her now. I said, well, nobody can help you if you don't tell what the problem is.
Did she say anything else about the break-in or anything like that?
Just hysterics. Said there was a break-in and there's blood everywhere, and I'm like, where's your mother? And she's just nothing.
What is your daughter's phone? You know that off there?
Not that I don't, but this does.
Yeah, you're probably like me. I don't know.
I don't know. I know mine.
I just have the names in there.
I'm not sure if I know how to do this, to be honest.
That's Sydney.
Yeah.
S-Y-D-N-Y.
Correct.
Do you know your wife's?
Yeah, that's 330-907.
Were you able to go in the house at all?
I made it in far enough to see the back fit. When you go into the front door, you come around the kitchen, you go in, you can see there's like a pass through between the kitchen and the family room. From the back of the house, I could see the right hand, there's two big sliding windows. I could see that window was clearly, it looked like it was busted, and the blinds were, they looked like they were pushed in. Went down the hallway probably about 2 feet, just enough to see blood all the way down the hallway, and then somebody told me I gotta go. As I was yelling, and there was no response from Brenda.
Now, the back door, this sliding door, do you guys use that at all?
No, there's a couch in front of it. We do in the summer, when the couches move, the love seats usually move from the sliding doors here. The couches you moved over into like this area, and we can go back out that back door for the patio and stuff.
And that's locked?
Uh-huh.
Do you have like a safety?
There's a lock, and there's a lock on the bottom of it too.
Okay.
And the sliding glass one, there's a lock, but I'm sure the button wasn't.
On the window? Or
Yeah, the window. There's sliding windows is what was busted open.
Right, I saw
Okay, yeah, there's the sliding door that we haven't used it since last probably fall. Once we got our Christmas tree on Thanksgiving, we moved the couch out of the way and put the tree in that corner.
Well, that's really bad news. Your wife passed away.
What happened?
We're not sure. It looks like, I don't think someone broke into the house. I don't know if your wife and daughter got into an argument or got physical. I mean, the window was broken, but there's no forced entry into the house. The window's broken, but nobody actually came through that window. And the sliding door was unlocked. So, did your wife and daughter ever have like really heated arguments?
No.
So we're here for you, Steve. We're here for anything that happens from here on out, okay?
This is not possible.
So sorry this is happening.
I'm gonna go. Where can I go?
Your son's outside, but he doesn't know anything that's going on.
My son's here?
Yes. We got him from school because in a situation, the way social media is, people, we didn't want him to be at school by himself.
Would you like one of us to just go be with your son?
I don't know. I don't know.
Take your time. There's no rush for anything here. Are there any other family members you want us to call?
Just her mom's at the hospital.
Okay.
They didn't tell her. They're not gonna tell her anything.
Who's that, Milan?
Yeah. They didn't tell the mom.
I didn't even know she was at the hospital. I know she went, but I wasn't sure where.
What is her mom's name?
Betsy.
Betsy.
Same last, what's the last
Brown.
Betsy Brown.
Is there anyone who could pick up your child?
He's
He's here.
He's here.
I mean, do you want him to stay with you, or
I don't know what I don't know what to do.
take your
I
time?
don't know what to do.
That's
So
why
we're all
we're
here
here.
to help you.
That's why we're here.
I have nowhere to go. Nothing to do. I can't go home.
How long will it be before he could go home? Because I know there's an investigation that has to happen.
Probably at least 3 hours.
At least 3 hours or more.
I don't want to go home. I want to go.
No, that's understandable. We have Bureau of Criminal Investigations coming in to do process the same times.
Can I go to the hospital?
Which
City? Am I allowed to go?
try to.
I don't know.
Who do you want to go see? Your wife?
Yeah.
Okay. They're probably not going to let you see her. I don't know what their protocol is at the hospital. I can always call and see.
Or see my mom is there, or
Okay.
or her mom.
Yeah. I mean, you go wherever you want to go. We don't have you. You're not in custody. You can go wherever you want. You do what you want. I probably would not go to see your daughter.
What's going on there?
Well, she got a few minor cuts on her and stuff, and I think she might be at city. They took one to Akron General and the city. I'll find out exactly where.
Oh, well, that's, yeah, they're at City. I thought Brenda was going to City.
She could have. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Steve, what we do to help? What do you do?
I don't know what I need. I don't know. I don't know anything. I know nothing. I don't know where to go with Andrew. I don't know where to go to see Brent. I don't know. I have no idea.
He's here.
Yeah, he's probably wondering why the hell he's here.
Yeah. I wouldn't know where to begin, how to
No idea.
bring him into this conversation, but he's going to need to know.
But yeah,
He's
that's
going to
right.
find out. I don't know if maybe you guys can go.
How old is your son?
16.
16. Do you think that you would have him to come in here, or you're not sure?
I don't know. I know nothing. I don't know what I want or how I feel or
That's what we need to do.
how anybody should feel.
Understand.
Steve, not there. You want to talk to him?
Yeah,
You know.
and on the way home,
What,
my car, I think I need to go to the hospital just to be with them. That's what I wanted to do.
you talk to him?
That's okay. I don't know where she is.
That's what I wanted to do.
If you want to speak to your son before you leave,
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
can definitely help you with that.
Are you wanting to tell him or do it someone else?
I will tell him, you know, so. Clearly they think Sydney did this. I was too. She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead.
I know they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they find out exactly what happened. Nothing's definite as of yet. They still have to do their investigating.
Did he go check to see
Yeah,
Ryan Bell?
he was checking to see the hospital for sure. And then she went to talk to him.
Where's Andrew? Is he just sitting out there by himself, or is he with?
Would you want maybe when there's less people?
Well, yeah, I want anybody in here with me when I talk to him. That's it. He is. Yeah, I don't want anybody. I just want me and him. I don't know if that's legal. I don't care.
Yeah, you don't want any of
I
us?
don't want any of you. No, I just want Andrew.
You just come and get us
Yeah,
when you're
I
ready,
will.
okay?
You're outside the door.
Oh, wait a second. I'll watch your stuff.
Close the door.
I got you.
Thanks. Sit down.
Mom, Dad, no! I don't know. Mommy, I don't know what happened yet. Cindy's hurt. I don't know what happened anyway. Just you and me. Cindy, thank you. I know Cindy's not that. Oh my God, thank you. But I don't know what's going on yet. But they just told me Mom died. Mom. It's just not. Wait.
grandma and grandpa are there. Hey, grandma's there. I don't know what to do, Andrew. I don't know what to do. What are you? Huh? What are you going to do? I don't know. I have no idea, buddy. We're going to survive. When are we going to go? I don't know, as soon as we can. They're going to see where she is. And we can't go home, Andrew. Why? Because we can't go home for a while.
Did they have that home?
Yes. Yes. We can't go home for a while, son.
What do we know?
I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, Andrew. We'll do something.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do something. We'll go in, get some stuff, and go to a hotel until we can clean the house and sell it and move. I'm not moving there. Guys, we'll figure out where Mom is. Go get her. Sydney's at some other hospital. They don't know what happened. You'll find out when I do. I'm not going to tell you. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. They don't know. They haven't told me. They're investigating.
So it's both in the hospital?
Yes. Your mom, I think, is at Akron City. And City has a general baby. But yeah, he interviewed me. That type of interview me. I said no. It's not fair. The gift. We are not going to be anymore. I mean, it isn't small. I don't care what you do. I need to make you good for your family ever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Jesus Christ. Here, test me.
Are you able to go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Find out where? Dude, I'm sorry, man.
Is she at Sydney or at City?
I gotta map it out. I think that was an emergency.
Oh, great. Well, I got them to the wrong.
Get out of hospital. Let me confirm. You wanna know where Brenda is?
Yes. Yeah, right now I want to know where mine is. Because that's, I want to go to City because that's where I think I sent everybody.
Brenda's an emergency.
I don't even know what
I
I was going to call Brenda's mom and tell her to go to
What do you wanna do?
I want to go, I don't know what should I do. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
I want to go where you, huh?
Probably shouldn't go to City
Why?
because they're gonna be taking care of Sydney, and I don't know if you're gonna have access to her right now.
So Brenda's at Akron General.
Yes.
I don't even know who I'm calling. Akron General. Go to Akron General. Is my mom there? Tell my mom and Dave Akron General. Okay. All right, so am I. She's not. She's not. Yes. You tell me she's alive, and I couldn't tell her that. All right, let's go. Let's go. You want to go? Yeah, I want to go where Brenda would be. Whose car is top radio?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you, Deb.
And when you're done, just come down to the floor.
Okay.
Alright?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you and I started.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
If you sure you don't want anything to drink, or?
I'm good, I promise.
Okay. Hi, this is my partner. This is Detective Bertina
How are
King.
you?
I'm good, how are you? Thanks.
Looks like I've seen you before, though.
Maybe.
You ever come here to see your dad?
I did when he retired.
Okay.
I haven't been here often.
So, Laura, first of all, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
We know that this whole thing's difficult for you, and you're trying to make sense of it, and so are we.
Mm-hmm.
We're just talking to you about what you know, not about what you've heard or anything.
Okay.
Just trying to find out as much as we can, so we can, kind of make sense of this ourselves. So if you want a break or anything, just let us know. But why don't we start off with, tell us about Sydney. When did you first meet, and how long have you known each other?
I've known Sydney for 6 years. We met the first day of summer gym in high school, and then we were best friends ever since. Very close.
And what are you doing now?
I'm at school.
Okay, where do you go to school at?
I go to the University of Mount Union.
Okay. And what year are you in there?
I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Yeah.
Now, we understand that Sydney was your roommate at Mount Union?
Yes, she was for last year and then this year until she left.
Okay. So how did that work? Did you both plan on going to Mount Union, or? Okay.
Yeah, she liked it first, and I was like, I don't know. And then I visited there, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the place to be. And then when we both got accepted, we were like, oh, we're definitely being roommates.
Okay. And so you've been friends ever since your freshman year at St. B?
Mm-hmm.
And go over each other's houses, everything like that?
Yep.
Okay. So what are you studying at Mount Union?
Education.
Education?
Yes.
And what was Sydney taking?
Well, she started off in exercise science freshman year, her first semester, but then she didn't like the classes, so she switched over to psychology and sociology, but then she didn't really like that, so this year she switched to education, and then she didn't like that either, and that's one of the reasons she left, is because she really couldn't find what she liked, so she was trying to figure it out.
So tell us about the time you spent together at Mount Union. You said that she really wasn't couldn't find something that she was interested in.
I think her most interest, was psychology, like learning about that stuff. But other than just like hanging out with her friends, like educational wise, it was kind of hard for her, I think.
Now, where did you stay at there? Where do you stay at?
Freshman year we were in a dorm room, and then this year we were in a suite, so it's like a dorm room but like two, so we had like neighbors, and we shared a bathroom.
But this is actually like Mount Union housing. It's not like a separate apartment or anything.
Yeah, it's Mount Union housing.
So it was just you and Sydney? And now, were there some other groups of students that you hung around with frequently? Neighbors of yours?
Yeah, so like I said, our suite mates, which was Alyssa, who was a cheerleader with me, and then my friend, well, our friend Brittany, who lives in like the townhouses, so she didn't live with us, but she was really close with us because she was in our sorority together, and she was also a cheerleader.
Now, was Sydney in that same sorority?
Yes.
What sorority is that?
Alpha Chi Omega.
Now, do they have a separate house on campus there, or how does that work?
So they do have a house on it, but they only have like one apartment, so you can't really like live there.
So it's Alpha Chi
Omega.
Omega? Okay.
Yes.
And did you both join together, or how did that go?
So we both went through recruitment together, and we both did the same sorority.
What attracted you to that sorority?
The girls, the vibe that they gave off, like everything that they stood for.
And what was that? Tell us about that.
Their well, I think the girls are just really nice in general, but the philanthropy they stand for is the Domestic Violence Shelter of Alliance, and even though I've never been like in any of those like situations, I think that was a good cause.
Okay. So you didn't there's no actual house, but there's everybody just belonged to the sorority, just stayed at different their dorms, is that?
Yeah.
How often did you get together with those girls?
Every Sunday we have chapter, which is like kind of like the meetings, and so if we had events, we were with them. So anytime we had an event or on Sunday chapters. So often.
So when you first got to Mount Union, how did it go for Sydney? Did she seem to be? I mean, you mentioned that she didn't really, find a niche as far as what she wanted to study. But I mean, did she ever talk to you about her classes and how that's going, or did you share that with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about classes a lot because we did homework together a lot. I think she was like I said, I think she struggled in her classes. I don't think her grades were the best, but she didn't really tell me that because I wasn't really struggling. But I think you could tell, kind of, especially at the end, that she just wasn't like doing her best. And like in high school, she was very like good grades and everything. So I think it was kind of a shock for her not to be to struggle. I think a little bit.
I think it's like a study habit thing, because it's a big difference from college to.
I think so, because like in high school sometimes you can procrastinate a little bit, and in college you definitely can't.
So she just wasn't, did it seem like, how did this like kind of change affect her? I mean, did it affect her moods at all? Did she seem concerned about it, or tell us about that?
I think she kept a lot of stuff hidden because when we were just talking or with our friends, she always seemed happy. Like she seemed okay, like I said, I couldn't tell until the end where she was kind of just like struggling and she kind of was sad and just like, Lauren, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, you just need to find what makes you happy and like just you need to find what you like to do. And I don't know, I think it did make her a little upset because she was confused because I think she felt like everybody around her kind of had figured out what they wanted to do and she hadn't. So I think that kind of affected her.
So when do you think that it really started affecting her? That like, look, this is, I'm really having problems, and this is I have to. I mean, look, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Tell us when you think that it really started affecting her, like often.
Like her anxiety. Well, I know she's had anxiety for a while, but I think those this last semester, like starting coming back in January, is when it really started. Like she was kind of more like upset because she really didn't know what she wanted to do. Like she didn't like her classes because that's when she started the education classes, and like my friends and I were worried for her because we didn't know what was going on because she didn't tell us, and like there was problems with like housing or something. Just like we shared a room and they like put names on the doors, and her name wasn't on it when we got back, and we were confused about that. And she said it's because they messed up because she didn't sign the forms right or something, but it kind of never got fixed. And then she left. And my friends and I were just worried because we didn't even know if she got any books for her classes. Like we were trying to ask her questions like that, and like she's like, no, I have books and I have stuff for my classes, but like I do homework all the time, and I don't think I saw her doing a lot of homework the last couple weeks. So I think this last semester, this January part when she was there, kind of affected her the most.
So, had you hung out over the Christmas break?
Yeah.
And was she talking about, what was she talking about then? Was she talking about the next semester, or did you guys talk about school at all?
I don't think we talked about school. Maybe living situations, because for like junior year we were talking about living in the townhouses and like what we were going to need. So I think we were talking about living situations, but like school-wide and class-wise, I don't think so much.
So when you came back from Christmas break, you didn't see her name on the door.
Yeah.
And when did she come back?
She came back the same day.
Same day?
Yeah.
Did you come together?
No.
Okay.
No, she came in her own car.
And so take us through again, her name wasn't on the door.
Yeah.
And how did...
So I guess the dorm people do that?
Yeah, so the RAs do that.
Okay.
So we were like, oh, what happened? Like, maybe you should go ask the RA, because people were asking, like, why is her name on the door? I'm like, I don't know. So she was kind of hesitant to ask the RA, so that's when we were kind of just like, what's going on? Like, my sweet mate, Alyssa, and I were asking, like, oh, what's going on? And Sydney's just said that when she signed out the forms wrong, so she was meeting with residents, like, a lot in the last couple weeks to kind of figure out, like, to get her stuff back, because then when her name wasn't on the door, her dorm key, like the thing to get into the dorm building, it stopped working. And so, but then it started working again, because she went over to Res Life and they turned it back on. So I don't know what happened, really, but that's all she said.
So it wasn't, so when she got there it didn't work, and then she went and talked to them.
Yeah.
And then, so is this like, so the key is the outside door and then you have to use one for the inside door?
No, so there's kind of. There's a key card, like our Mount Union ID, and that's when you swipe in, like you can get into the building.
Okay.
And then there's the actual key for the room. The swiper wasn't working, the key swiper wasn't working.
Okay.
So I think she just told us that she didn't fill like the housing form out. Like this, when we had to come back, we had to fill out a form saying we're coming back, and she said she signed something off wrong. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she told us. And then she just, like I said, she met with Res Life a lot, like a couple weeks trying to get them figured out so she could, like, because she was staying, and then she ultimately decided not to stay, and so she had to return her key and stuff.
So when she got her stuff working again, how was it like day to day? I mean, was she leaving the dorm? Was she coming back?
Yeah, because
And what were you thinking about that at that time?
I was confused because we've told each other everything for a long time, so I was confused in the sense that I didn't know what was happening, and I was just like, she could trust me, she could tell me if something was wrong, I'd want to help her, but she didn't really tell us anything. That she didn't tell Alyssa anything either, or Brittany. She did go to class, so she was leaving the building, but usually her and I were together because our classes were similar, so we'd be coming back at the same time. But I saw her use her key, but like I'd use my key too. But yeah, we were together most of the time, coming back from classes and stuff.
Did you have any of the same classes?
We had the same class, but not at the same time.
Did you actually know for sure she was actually physically in the classroom?
No, cannot say I do know that. She told us she was, and I mean she was, like, we both had French class and she was doing her French homework with me, so I knew she was doing stuff with the same class, but I don't know if she actually was going to class.
Okay. Was there any, like you mentioned Alyssa and Brittany, any other, like maybe the sorority sisters in any of her classes?
No, but she was also close to a girl named Audrey. She was in our sorority, but she was also a cheerleader. A lot of her friends were my friends, because I'm a cheerleader, so she hung out with a lot of the people I hung out with.
So you don't know if she was actually ever sitting in a seat in a classroom?
I can't tell you that, no, because we had classes at the same time. And if we didn't have class at the same time, it was because I was in a class and she was in a study room because she didn't have class at that time.
What was she doing? I mean, was she at the dorm room a lot, or how? Can you describe for us what she was doing when she was not in class? Or supposed to be in class?
When she wasn't in class, if she was waiting for me, she'd wait in the study room. So that like Mount Union has like rooms that you can study in. So she'd wait for me until I get out of class, and then we'd go do stuff together. But if she not, she'd be in the dorm room in her bed on her laptop.
Did you notice any change in her mood? Was she talking about anything, or?
Like, I could tell she was getting more upset, like more sad. And I told her, I was like, I'm here, like, you can tell me, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm here. But she never really opened up until she was leaving and saying that she was struggling with school and that she was kind of trying to figure out what was going on. And that's when I started to try to help her. And then she ultimately decided to leave, which I thought would maybe be good for her, just to get her mind off the rest of the semester and then come back or go to Akron or something the next following fall semester, kind of, hoping that would help her.
So when was that conversation, as opposed to when she left?
That conversation, maybe a week before she left, a week or so before, saying we were talking about it. We were just like, I was like, well, Sydney, I understand if you might have to take classes or summer classes. If you want to come back to Mount, I'm all for it. Like, we love you and we want you here. But like, I understand if you go home, like, my friends and I talked about this without Sydney too, but if she goes home and she just needs to go to Akron just to be at home, just to be somewhere where she can maybe try to find a new work ethic and something that makes her want to go to class, we're all for it. And she's like, I appreciate that. I really want to come back to Mount. That's like where all my friends are. That's where I want to learn, even if I'm a semester behind. That was kind of what she said.
So when did she actually leave? Can you put a day on that, something that reminds you of when she actually left?
The Tuesday before the incident. A whole week before.
A week before?
Yeah.
Is that the last time you actually saw her?
I saw her the Monday before the incident happened. That week she came back to Mount to watch The Bachelor with me and my friends at my friend's townhouse. She came over.
Did she stay where she was staying after she left, or what did you believe? Where did you believe she was staying?
She told us she was home. Like, she left. We watched The Bachelor, and then she left to go back home. And she texted us when she came home.
Like I made it home?
Yeah, like she made it home.
Okay. So you think that before this happened, she'd been at the house a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she leaves about a week before the incident. Then you're thinking she's at home.
Yeah.
And then she came back to just that Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lauren, let's talk about this. You're her best friend, and I know this is difficult, but tell us about her relationship with her parents.
Her and her parents had a really good relationship. Like, her mom and her were best friends. Probably, like, they did everything together. Like, one of the reasons she went home was to be with her mom. They were always close. She never said anything bad about her mom. She never ever talked about having an argument with her mom. Like, I can't recall every time she'd be going home, she's like, I can't wait to see my mom. Or when she goes home for weekends, she'd be like, oh, my mom wants me to come home so we can hang out and like watch movies. And she loved being home. And she had a good relationship with her dad too. Like, I know that her and her dad liked to watch like Star Wars together, and he always like cooked food at the house. Like, he liked cooking, and she'd always talk about how good his food was and what they would get each other for Christmas and things about spring break. Like, she loved being home like with her family.
So when she's talking to you about the problem she's having at school, did she mention that she tried talking to her parents at all, or that they were going to have that they were involved in her future plans at all?
Yeah, I know she definitely, especially when she left, she talked to her mom about leaving. They kind of made that decision together to leave Mount. like, she told them that she didn't tell them for a while, but I knew when everything kind of built up, she was telling them how she was struggling with school. And then when she left, I know that was a decision between like her and her parents, kind of mutual type decision.
Now, when you say that she told them and it was like a mutual decision, is that her telling you that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that her telling you that she?
She told me that she talked to her parents and they decided that it would be best for her to just not finish the rest of the semester.
So, as far as you know, based on what Sydney was telling you, she was discussing the situation. Did you think her parents knew based on what she told you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you never ever talked to the parents, all right?
No, I haven't seen her parents in a while.
So you last saw her, which would have been like a week before the incident, and then had she removed all her things, or what about, did you get the impression that she was moving out at that point for good?
When she told me that Tuesday morning, we woke up and she was talking, she's like, I need to tell you something. My family and I decided that it'd be better to like take the rest of the semester off, and I have to leave today. And then she like packed up all of her stuff and kind of told all of her friends, and then she left that Tuesday with all of her stuff, all of her bedding, all of her clothes, all of her items.
And that was the Tuesday before the incident happened?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And then she drives up to see you the Monday night before?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did she say anything that day when you were watching The Bachelor, or how did you ask how she was doing, or tell us about that?
Yeah, we asked her she was doing, and she said she was good. Like, she acted like what we would see as normal. Like, she was laughing, she was having fun. She said she got jobs, because she worked at the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
She's worked there for a couple seasons, so she was going to go back there. And then she also said she was looking for another job, and like everything was good, and she was trying to figure out like for next year and all this stuff, and she was going to talk to her parents about housing, trying to come back to Mount. That was her main thing. But she seemed fine. Like, she seemed completely, like I said, she was laughing, and we were goofing off and doing girl stuff and everything like that.
When she's, once she got to Mount Union, or anytime actually, did Cindy ever drink alcohol at all, or she did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just kind of describe that for us. We've all been college age, so, and
No. I don't usually like drink a lot, and if I do, it's one. But she liked to drink. There was an incident in the fall of our freshman year where she drank too much, and she wasn't alcohol poisoned, but she did end up in the hospital. And her mom came and got her at like 2 a.m, but she did end up in the hospital that day because she drank like mixed drinks and drank too much. But usually after that, her and I were together, and if she did drink, I usually kind of like slowed her down after I knew kind of her limit, because she's small, so kind of knew her limit. But she did drink.
What situation was that in? Was that just like a party or something, or how was it?
I was in the dorm room watching movies because I didn't want to go out. So she went out with some other of her friends. I wasn't really close with them. I was close with one of them, but not the rest. And I got a call around like 11 saying Sydney was at a party and she was throwing up and she just wasn't good, and to come pick her up. So I kind of went and got her, and then she wasn't feeling good, and so I brought her back to the dorm, and she wouldn't get out of the car, and I had guys with me trying to help, and then the RA came out, and then the RA called campus security, and the campus security called the ambulance, and then she was taken to the hospital.
Did she have any friends that like wasn't in your friend circle there, like friends that she had maybe made on her own that you're aware of?
Not really, because usually she was either in the dorm or hanging out with us or sorority girls, but I knew all the sorority girls too, that they were my friends. We had a lot of the same friends.
So her circle of friends pretty much consisted of the sorority girls that you were in and some of the cheerleaders that she met through you.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen her taking any drugs or anything, or any medications for nothing? Nothing at all?
No.
Is there anything that you know of that, did you hear from anybody else that she might have done that? Have you ever heard anything like that?
No, I'm not.
So, what is your phone number? What phone number do you have, Lauren?
You guys text a lot?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
So you mentioned an Allison?
Audrey.
Oh, I'm sorry, Audrey. Do you know Audrey's phone number off the top of your head?
No.
How about Brittany?
No. I'd have to look at my phone.
I know, you just probably keep them in contact. Right?
Yeah.
So did you said after she left, she got all her stuff and left about a week before. What kind of contact did you have with her during that week? Did you talk to her at all over the phone?
Not really. Because we kind of wanted to give her a week just to settle in with her house. We asked her how she was doing. I called her, but she didn't answer because she was in the shower. And then I texted her, and I was just making sure. I was like, "Oh, I just want to make sure you're okay." And then we talked a little bit, and then she asked if she could come over that Monday for the bachelor. And I was like, "Oh, of course! Like, we'd love to have you. Like, we want you here." And then she came over, and then she texted me, "I'm home." And then we'll text like videos to each other. So she sent me a video that night too, and that was kind of like the last of it.
What kind of video?
A TikTok video.
Did she have any boyfriends or any guy friends that she met at Mount Union or back here?
We hung out with fraternity guys, and like she had the same guy friends I did. She did have a boyfriend from about like December before break until January when she came back. They broke up.
So it was like a month or so.
Yeah, very short.
Do you know his name?
Dominic Zappa.
Zappa?
Yeah.
So what made him break up?
He cheated on her on New Year's.
Oh, kitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll make you happy.
No, yeah. So yeah, they broke up.
How did she find out that happened?
I had friends at the party that called me and told me, and then I told her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had to break the news to her.
Yep.
Had she ever, any, you mentioned that she had the drinking episode. Any kind of like breakdowns or anything, or you mentioned that, she had a hard time finding out what she wanted to do, what she studied, but any like real bad episodes that you can recall, anything like that?
I mean, not bad, like I've seen her cry, but not over like, I've seen her cry before over like just being stressed. I don't think she handled stress very well, so she cried over stuff sometimes when she got too stressed out. But other than that, not really.
The worst, how did you take the news about Dominic?
She was upset for like a while, but then she just kind of just like, it's not meant to be, that's okay, and then she broke up with him.
Where's she from?
I think the Cleveland area.
Mm-hmm.
They have to words back and forth, or she just kind of like dumped him on text message?
Yeah, she dumped him over text. She was like, I found out, and she gave him a little bit to see if he'd tell her, and he never did.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, I kind of don't like that you never told me, so I just think we should end things now, because it's not going to work out, basically, type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So, you talked about her anxiety. Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that.
I think since high school, Sydney's been dealing with anxiety. Like I said, she doesn't deal with stress well, so she gets in if she's stressed about something, she kind of gets a little worked up over it. She went through a period in high school in her junior year where she just was like almost social anxiety. Like she didn't like to talk to people other than like our friend group, or go out to like restaurants or stores. Like she didn't want to talk to cashiers and stuff like that. We kind of helped her and pulled her out of it, and we kind of, she went to the counselor, so like Sydney went to the counselor, kind of talked about it, and it got better after that. Like senior year, she was more normal, I guess you could say. But I think junior year she definitely struggled with it. And then in college, I think it got worse again, just because, like I said, she didn't know what she wanted to do, and I don't think her grades to were what she wanted them to be. So, like when she was doing her grades and stuff, I think that kind of stressed her out, and that got her more upset when she couldn't figure out why she wasn't doing as well, I think.
Do you think that she talked to any counselors up there?
I don't think she talked to any counselors at Mount, because you'd have to go to the health center, which is across campus, and she never went there.
So when she's, you mentioned that she was having problems with her grades. Did she ever talk to you about the university's feedback, like if she was on like probation or anything, or any official status that they changed with her? So you weren't aware of anything like that with her?
I know the reason I kind of found out is because in the sorority I got an executive position, or I was in a position to where I knew she couldn't do something because her grades, so she was academically for her grades in the sorority.
When would that have been? Semester-wise?
That was last semester. I kind of found out about that because we have a thing called.
Which would have been the fall?
Yeah.
This past fall semester?
We have a thing called Big Little, where like the older girls get a new girl, and they kind of like their mentors, and she wasn't able to get one, I guess, because of her grades. So that's kind of when I found out, because I was in a minor position then, where I helped pick the Big Littles. So I was like in the position. I kind of found out because of that.
And how did she react when she was, when you talked to her about that? Or did you talk to her about it?
I didn't bring it up until I was just like, hey, I know you can't get a little, and they said it's because of your academics. Is there anything like you want to talk about? She's like, they just messed up my transcript. Like I didn't get as bad of grades. I'm like, I don't really think that happens, but yeah, that's what she told me, is that they messed up her transcript. But then she came and told me the truth a little bit later, that she did have bad grades.
And was that like this little thing, was that like towards the beginning of the semester? Or
more towards the middle to end.
Towards the middle to end? And that she did finally come forward and say that, she was, did she mention specifically what her grades were? Mm-hmm. Just said that she was having some problems. Okay.
And how do you find out that it was all bad? How do you find out about that?
When it was like all the grades were pretty bad?
Yeah.
I never really found out what they were exactly. She told me that she was like, I kind of have bad grades. My friend Brittany kind of struggled with grades a little bit, so she's the first one who kind of noticed that she was struggling, because she had been in Sydney's position before, like her freshman and sophomore year, a little bit, so she kind of could tell, and she's the one who kind of like warned you, kind of talked to her about it, like just make sure she's okay.
It's like a probation thing, right? It kind of, and then do they ever just like, did you ever just know that she wasn't supposed to be there? Okay.
I never knew that. I think maybe at the end she wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it kind of felt like, but I never knew. Not really.
Because her name never appeared in the door,
no.
right?
Was there any RAs that ever came and physically checked your suite there? See if she was staying there?
After she left. After she left. But before that, they came to talk to her.
So who's they? When you
the RA, our RA. She came and talked to her, and then Red Light was also coming and talking to her. They'd come and ask for her, and she talked to them.
Do you know how many days before she left would that have been, or was it weeks or days?
It was weeks, like throughout the weeks that she was there, kind of on and off.
And then that night that you saw her, did she make plans like to see you again?
We were gonna hang out. We were gonna try to hang out again soon, like over a weekend or something, but not like official or not specific plans, I guess.
Okay. You don't come home on the weekends all the time?
I come home sometimes, but not often. But I knew because spring break was coming up, I was going to Florida, so we were making plans probably to see each other after spring break.
So, like back here in Akron, was there anybody that like you went to school with, or she at St. B, you're really good friends with, that that she would spend time with when she was back home? Who would that have been?
If she would have, it would have been either a kid who goes to Akron, his name's Lewis, but I don't think she ever contacted him because he didn't even know she left until I told him. So I don't know if she ever contacted him. And then we had another friend who goes to Kent. Her name's Emma, and I don't know if she contacted her either.
What's Emma's last name?
White.
Did she go to St. B?
She did.
So what about social media and stuff like that? Any social media she had?
She had Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter.
So did any of that ever look weird, dark, anything to you?
She never posted anything, so
Okay.
not really, no.
Okay.
Any guy friends that were back here in Akron that she hung out with?
Not really, no. When she was here, she usually just hung out with her family. Like, her close friends were kind of the ones at school.
What's your relationship with the brother like?
They had, I think, like a normal sibling relationship. Like, they love each other and they'll do anything for each other. But they also, brother and sister argue and stuff like that. So I think it was pretty relatively normal. Like, she loved her brother. She told me that all the time. Like, I talk about Steven, she'd talk about Andrew. Like, pretty normal. Like, she liked to go to her brother's soccer games and his lacrosse games. She liked supporting him a lot.
Was she playing in any intramural soccer up at Mount Union or anything like that?
Yeah.
Was she playing any back here in Akron, anything like that? So Lauren, what haven't we asked you? Is there something that you think that we need to know, or something you think that we might think is important that's weighing on your mind?
I don't think so. I think you guys have asked a lot of good questions. I think you've gotten a lot of the main things. Like, definitely, she has had anxiety. I think it's a big thing. I don't know.
She ever went to a doctor, got diagnosed for it or anything like that?
I don't know.
Did she call it, I guess I would say that's to me a serious word to call something.
Anxiety?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this society, day and age, words kind of get.
Right. That's why I was wondering, did she ever say, I went to a doctor and they said, I have anxiety, and then we just kind of carried it on like that?
No, she never said anything about going to a doctor. I don't know if it was diagnosed or. But I knew, we would call it, anxiety, I guess, even if it's just a small term for it.
Mm-hmm.
Or a term that we just use because it's used a lot. She was stressed a lot, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, when it all goes bad, all of this, so how do you find out something bad happened to her mom?
So I know that I got called into my coach's office because the dean or somebody came in, and I was called into my coach's office, and they told me that something happened at the Powell residence, and the new people were going to the hospital, but they just didn't know what happened. The dispute happened, and then my dad was coming to give me a suitcase, and so then my dad kind of told me.
Oh, you guys were going to Florida next
Yeah.
day or that? Yeah, because I remember him being here that day, the next day or something?
2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, it was the next day.
Yeah.
It was the next day, yeah. It was, yeah. He kind of told me what happened, that my mom passed away, and Sydney kind of was part of it.
So how did you feel about that? What were you thinking?
I was shocked, just because, like I said, Sydney and her mom were so close, and I kind of just was like, what do you mean? I think I was shocked and confused for a lot of it, and then I kind of, when I was on vacation, kind of figured that this happened, that something happened with her mom and her, and I don't know what, but I'm in the one, I can't really help other than tell you guys what I know, I guess. I knew I can't do anything other than just be there for Sydney.
It shocked you?
Yeah, it shocked me. I was just I was just like, no, maybe didn't believe it at first. I was like, no, this Sydney and her mom, maybe something else happened, somebody else was there, but obviously that wasn't the case. So I was just really shocked about it.
Have you talked to anybody in her family since this happened?
We talked to her dad, just like we sent flowers to the funeral, so he kind of thanked us and just was making sure we were okay. Basically, he was just making sure we were okay. We were making sure, like we said, if they need anything, we would be there for them, kind of that type of situation.
And what about the other girls that are friends with Sydney? How are they?
They're okay. I think giving that week of spring break kind of let everybody kind of digest what happened. Like, we were all really upset that day or night. I know when I wasn't there on campus, but the campus sent me an email that Tuesday or that Wednesday. I wasn't there, but I heard everybody was talking about it, and it was kind of upsetting for some of the people that were her friends. Because they were just confused because so many people loved her and never would have saw this coming. Not at all. Never would have saw this coming. So it was just a big shock to everyone. But like I said, having that week and now I think not being at school because of the coronavirus has given everybody time just to like heal and kind of digest what happened and just hope kind of for the best.
So has anybody said anything like, we got negative naysayers?
Yeah.
Anybody say anything bad? Like news, this would happen, she got some whatever, anything bad?
Not to me.
Okay.
Everything that I've, like, people, my friends have texted me and people in my sorority, and it's all been very positive to me. During that week on spring break, I kind of turned off all my notifications for social media, so like I didn't see anything, or I didn't want to, kind of type of thing, just to kind of heal and not, but I know from my friend that people were saying mean things on her social media page, her Instagram, because it was public. My friend told me that. I didn't go read it. But
is it Sydney Powell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I heard there was negative comments on her Instagram page about her, but like I said, I didn't read it. But everything I saw that people text me and stuff was just positive, saying that they're here for us and they love us and kind of that type of situation.
You guys are like, so what are you doing now? Just online?
Yeah, online classes.
Are you guys back now for spring break technically, or? So
we had Monday and Tuesday off, and then yesterday started online classes, but I'm just living at home because they shut down our dorms. You can't live in the dorms anymore.
Lauren, just have a question. How did she usually, I know, like, when you were at school, you get that card and everything, but did she pay for stuff with cash, or if it wasn't her, like, university card at the university facilities, if you went out, to a restaurant or something, how would she normally pay? If you know.
Either cash, or she'd get a debit card, or one of us would pay and she'd like Venmo type. She'd Venmo, we'd Venmo. That was kind of how it was. So either cash or her debit card.
So she did have an individual debit card?
Okay.
Yes. Because most of the food is, you guys eat off campus, or you guys like a kitchen and you do stuff at home?
So there's a cafeteria, and then we have in our school a cafe. It's called the B&B, where you can use your dining dollars there and eat money. But if not, it was at a restaurant or at our friend's townhouse, which they had a full-size kitchen, so we cooked there.
Okay. So how you feeling about all this?
I'm okay now. The first couple days where I was kind of sad and just confused and shocked, but like I said, I kind of realized that the only thing I can do is kind of tell you guys what happened in my kind of like what I know about her, and just know that I know Sydney, or knew Sydney, how she was, and that's all I can do is just support her and try to help as much as I can. Kind of that type of situation. Just I knew that there was nothing I could have done right now, or that situation, I wasn't there, I don't know what happened, so all I can do is just be there for people.
Anything we haven't asked you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, Lauren, if you think of something, I'm going to give her my card. Your dad knows how to get a hold of us, but I'm going to give you my card, and if there's something that maybe you say, I wish I would have told Detective King, Lieutenant Winnats, or anything at all, or I should ask you, do you have any questions for us, or I know there's probably a million things, but
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my card.
She's like, no.
And if you, like I said, if you think of something, or somebody says something and contacts you either through Instagram, whatever, says something that's really unusual, I don't know what that would be, but if there's something that sticks out to you, or just get a hold of us, okay?
I will.
Or they can call us.
So what are you studying? What are you studying?
Education.
Okay, so you're gonna teach.
Little kids. I bet you little bitty baby kids too, right?
Now you were coaching in the fall, or it's back at St. Pete too, right?
Yeah, I coach. I'm the freshman cheer coach at St. Pete.
So you had time to do that in addition to cheering at the football games and everything?
Yeah, so I would go to class Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday I'd go back home and coach the football games.
Wow.
And then I'd cheer myself on Saturday. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna walk you back down, and appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get over here, and then I'll take you down to where your dad's hanging out, okay?
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, your dad knows how to get a hold of me. You've been